Hi, it's Kim and welcome to the channel today. Today I'm going to show you my Sedum Sunsparkler that I recently got. It's the Blue Elf and I'm planting it in my beach sand Hypertufa bowl. I'll put a link up here shortly showing you the video where I made the beach sand Hypertufa bowl. But this looked like a really interesting plant that I found at Lowe's. And I had made that Hypertufa bowl, put shells on it and everything so that I could be sure to remember which one was the beach sand. I think I could, since it weighed about 1,000 pounds. Sand does not make for a light Hypertufa. But anyway, this particular plant, a succulent, I had not heard of before. It is a perennial and it's hardy in zones 4 to 9, so it should very well survive my Ohio winter in zone 6. Now I did drill 2 holes in the bottom of that Hypertufa bowl, and I am using the soil that I mixed up and pre-mixed in that little black dish that I showed you a couple videos back. It's all ready. It's more than enough to plant this up, and it's very sandy because this particular plant likes well-draining soil, a little on the lean side. So it's got a lot of that chicken grit in it and the sand, so it'll be perfect. So I'm gonna just dump a whole bunch in there since it's already mixed. Saves a lot of time and trouble, and I will kind of get it all packed down so we have a nice hard surface for the plant to root in. It has been under my overhang for at least 2 or 3 weeks. Now this particular plant, as I said, was at Lowe's. It costed the $10.48. I'll show you that tag there, and it will bloom in real pretty pink blossoms in late summer and fall, so I'm real anxious to see how that works out. Now this is a plant from Monrovia, and I understand it was just introduced a few years back. And I really think Monrovia does a really good job of planting them in really nice soil, because you can see how nice and crumbly that is. Because a lot of times when you buy the plants, they are just in a hard pan of the peat that is just dried so hard you can almost barely pull them apart. But either the Lowe's took really good care of their plants this time, or Monrovia packs it in a really nice soil. So kudos to whoever. Now I've got this, I pulled off most of the lower soil, and I'm just going to bury it at the same level that it was before, just like you should do. Now this particular plant is long blooming, so I should have several weeks of bloom a little later this year. And it could be a ground cover, because it'll spread about 18 inches. Now this particular pot's diameter is only about 12, so it should cascade over the sides. I think it'll look really good. It's a full sun plant. You can do partly sunny, but as you can see, the little strands are like reaching toward the sun where it was under the porch for too long. I should say the porch roof. It gets a lot of sun there, but just not enough. And it is salt tolerant, so this being a beach sand Hypertufa, in case there's any kind of salt left in it, that's just the reason why I thought I'd plant it in the beach sand Hypertufa, because it is salt tolerant and can live by the seaside. Now this particular plant, it says it's deciduous in the information I found on it. Oh, I've broken some pieces off, so I'll be sure just to kind of stick them down in the soil, because I think they'll root. As I was going to say, it's like the Sedum Autumn Joy and those type plants. When you pop the tops, when you kind of trim them to keep them kind of tight and not so floppy, I usually just shove those little ends that I popped off down into the soil, and they just grow new ones. I've got ones growing all the way down the hillside where I planted them I can't remember if that was last spring or the spring before. But I think that looks really good right now. Let's just take a look at it and see what it looks like. Now you can see the little strands reaching toward the sun, and I think once I get it out there in the sun, you can see the tighter undergrowth in there. So definitely this one will be a full sun plant, no lie there. Now once it recovers just a little bit and is back out in the sun, I may pinch a lot of those little tips off that have gotten too long and put them down into the soil or into some other planters. Now where am I going to put this right now? I'm not sure. I may put it on that bench out there. No, I don't think so. I think I'll put it on this little stand and put it out way out in the full sun. It'll probably get full sun out here till maybe about 2, 3 o'clock, something like that, because the sun will go over the house and it stretches out across the deck and no more. It's shady the rest of the evening. Now I struggled very, very heavy, but I got it out there. And I like them up on the stand to keep them from making marks on the wood deck. That works for me. I could not get that little tripod level to save my life, so we just kind of had a crooked view there. But look at it close up. It should be real good. You see that bluish tint already, and I think it's really going to look nice out here. Rainy, rainy days. Now, let me show you what it looked like a couple days later. And it had one full day in the sun, and you can already see the little ends are all perked up and standing up again. Now, I'm going to give it a few more days to recover, and then I think I'll pop some and put some more down into the ground. But I think it's going to look really good, and I'm going to enjoy this plant. But thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate you stopping by to see my videos. And I'll link one up here that you also might like. Thanks for coming. See you next video.